right, here we go, episode 2 of
She's Got the Keys.
And here we are talking about the keys, talking about home ownership today, actually talking about one of the our favorite kinds of clients, right? Which is
First-time home buyers.
And why do we love them?
We love first-time home buyers because I think they're the greatest pool of passing along our skills and education and helping them navigate into a realm that they haven't ever been in before. I mean, you can obviously educate people who have purchased in the past because everything changes and, you know, the economy changes, the marketplace changes, so we're always there for them as well. But I love first-time home buyers.
Me too. I think that because they're so eager to start a new life. And so in a way we've coined this episode, what to expect when you're expecting to buy, just because it is kind of this magical journey. Your first pregnancy is different than your second or your third, right?
I wouldn't know yet.
Okay, well, my first pregnancy, I was so excited, and then by the second one, I was tired, worn out,
Yeah.
ready to have my bod back. But for a lot of these folks, they don't know what's coming up, and so everything is very new and a little bit scary, but also very exciting. So I think that just kind of their mindset is different.
Yeah, I also think that the easily accessible part of being a first-time home buyer is like looking for houses and searching and finding one, but it's all this scary stuff, not scary, but all the unknown stuff that happens in like the, you know, potential 30 days from getting under contract to actually closing, and that's where we come in.
That's right. I can't tell you how many of my clients have asked me, did you know going into this job that you were going to be a therapist? And I actually did. I did. I knew, because I had gone through this journey myself, the highs and lows. I knew that it was going to be emotional, and that oftentimes we see our clients at the best, but also the worst moments in the journey, because there are going to be times along the way where things don't go as expected, or you find a house that you really, really love and you're not able to close on it in time. And that can be really heartbreaking and frustrating. And there are times when my clients just need a break from the whole process. So
Yes.
yeah,
It can be quite the journey, but that's why we're here. They don't do this every day, right? That's our job. We do this all the time.
exactly.
So we can, you know, I love to share examples with my clients of things that worked out or didn't work out, or ways that we can, you know, forego a potential problem before it even happens, because we do this more than they do, and that's the whole point. That's why you want someone there helping you through the process.
Yeah. So when you start this process, I'm sure that your mother, your aunts, your friends have a million recommendations of who you should go to as an agent. My biggest piece of advice is choose somebody that you can trust.
Yep.
I think that's the most important element, is being able to be open and honest and expect the same in return. I like people to point out to me what's wrong with the house, so that I get to make the judgment call as to whether or not that's too much for me to handle or just the right amount. Whereas there's other agents who are going to walk you through the house and point out everything that's great about it. So it really depends on your personality and what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. I always try to be... I always tell my clients, you know, I want to work with people who want to work with me, because it kind of goes both ways. Like, you're going to be spending time with this person. You're going to call this person at maybe 9:30, and maybe you really need them to answer, and hopefully that's the person that's going to do that for you. And to what you said, pointing out things in homes, you know, we're going to see exponentially a lot more homes than our clients. So it's our job to not point out all the great, big, shiny, beautiful things on the outside. We want to be looking at the nitty-gritty, the things that my clients aren't trained to look for, because that's the reality of home ownership. You're always finding something.
Well, and I will say that, like, going through homes is so intoxicating, because you can feel this new life coming on. And sometimes you don't look at the fine details because you are just like, this is for me. I'm going to do it. It's the right one. And then you get into it a couple months later and your furnace is broken and you've got a leak in the roof and the toilet is coming through the kitchen ceiling. That happened in my own house.
Example?
Yes.
Okay. So this sounds really personal and detailed.
Yeah.
Like you might know a little something about it.
And you just need to know that at the end of the day, you're still happy with the decision that you made. And so I just like to make sure that even in those high, beautiful moments that my clients know kind of what they're getting into.
Absolutely.
But I want to take a step back because you said something about working with clients who really want to work with you. And one of the biggest things that has come up over 2024 has been the NAR lawsuit.
Yep.
And how that has shifted the practices in our field. There hasn't been a whole lot of changes in Washington just because the Northwest MLS was not a part of NAR, had already started incorporating buyer contracts into the deals way before this ever came out. But I think that people's perspective about what it is that we do has shifted. And there is a pocket of individuals who would really love to represent themselves. And if that's you, I'm not here to talk you out of it. I will say, though, that we aren't trying to pressure those individuals into working with us.
No. That goes with I want to work with the people who want to work with me. And if you want to represent yourself, more power to you. Our job, however, is to help clients who, like we said, you don't do this every day. So, you're going to go to somebody who knows the process, can help you actually not only get the house, maybe your contract gets accepted and you're representing yourselves, but do you know how to navigate through the next 30 days
and the loan process and closing. Some of the things that I have noticed on the seller side, because I have been approached by an unrepresented buyer who really wanted to make an offer on the house, I could not get there with them just because of the lack of understanding and knowledge. I'm not allowed to, it would be against my fiduciary duties to my seller to educate this person on how to write the best offer. And so all I can do is point you in the direction of a website.
Yep.
I can't tell you which forms or what the timeline or how much earnest money you should put down, whether or not.
Or how to protect your earnest money or protect you within the transaction. These are always going to be more favorable for the sellers.
Right.
As if you come in as an unrepresented buyer, because there isn't anybody there helping to protect your money and your purchase.
But what I will say is my sellers passed on those deals just because they didn't believe that the buyer had the know-how to be able to follow through and close.
Right.
So what I do want to put out there is that even though the lawsuits have shifted our industry, we are still seeing sellers who want to pay to have well-educated buyer brokers who can help their clients finish the deal.
Yeah, so much about an appeal of an offer to a seller is, yes, terms, money, all of that, but can you close? Because the whole point is,
if you close,
if you have a great deal and it doesn't close, you don't have a deal at all. You haven't sold your house.
And the seller's in a worse position because they aren't
on the market longer.
They've been on the market longer. It looks like there's something wrong with the house.
It looks like the buyer, backed out because there was something wrong, when really, maybe it says on our end that we can see, like, no fault of the sellers, buyer got cold feet, buyer couldn't close, but that's not on the forward-facing consumer side. The consumer only sees this house is back on the market.
It's all about perception, right? Yeah. I tell clients, if we fail during our first round of deals and offers, if we're not able to get that to closing and have to come back on the market, more likely than not, we're looking at a $10,000 price cut, because you want to entice those buyers who lost you the first round. You passed on them, right? And you took this other offer. They've probably made offers on other houses by this point and I've moved on.
Yeah.
So I just think from our vantage point, we think that if the seller is offering and you have the ability to negotiate pay for a broker, it is within your best interest to be represented.
Yeah, and like we said, the National Association of Realtors lawsuit, it changed a lot of MLSs, but here in our MLS, one thing that didn't change is consumers can still see whether a seller is offering compensation. That is still on the forward-facing side for consumers. That's not going to be the case for most of the MLSs in the rest of the country. So we're fortunate here where we still have the transparency that I can say, hey, buyer, look at this house that you like, that you sent me or I sent you. We're good. The seller is offering, however much they're offering, it's all covered. You don't have to worry about that on your end. And if they're not, we can say, hey, buyer, seller's offering this much. This is how we'll negotiate that difference. And that's always something that, at least here in Washington State, our buyers still get the advantage of knowing. It's a little bit of peace of mind.
And there are a lot of ways to go about being able to afford this without having to come out of pocket. So that is just one of the things that we wanted to highlight, because I think there's a lot of confusion, and I don't know how many people have asked you, are you okay? Is your job okay?
I know, it's like, are you ever going to get paid again? Like, yes. You know why? Because there's still buyers who still need people to hold their hand and tell them how this goes, and they understand that is a paid position.
Yes.
We're not volunteering our time.
That's right. It's nice if we did, but we've still got to live. Now that our clients have found an agent that they really like, the next step is moving towards figuring out what their budget is.
Correct. We ask them, are you working with a loan officer? Have you spoke with a mortgage lender? Because our job is kind of at a standstill until we know your budget and you know your budget. So we're probably going to give you, any agent you meet with is probably going to give you a couple of recommendations, because
that's a good sign of a good agent, though.
Yes.
Because there are some agents that are going to shoo you down one rabbit hole, and I think it's good to have lots of information. Check out, like, shop around, right?
Yeah. Shop around, see what works with you. It's another relationship you're going to have. You probably shopped around for an agent or met with multiple people to see who you clicked with. Same thing's going to be with your lender, because I promise you, on a weekend, on a Saturday night, you're going to want to call your lender about something, and are they going to answer? Are they going to respond? Do they have a good team that they're working with, so you're getting information in real time when you need it? Because reality is, you're not going to decide that you want to buy a house at 10 a.m. on Monday morning on a work day, right? It's going to be at 9:30 on a Sunday night that you need to put something in.
I'm ready. Actually, I had a mortgage loan officer bumble a deal that cost his buyers quite a bit of money, because they had the 30 days, but he didn't get the paperwork into the state in time to close, so they went outside of that, which adjusted their rate. And I was so frustrated, because it's so easy, it's easy to but there are good loan officers, there are bad loan officers. The key thing here, though, is that they're going to give you that golden ticket that allows you to really shop. Before you have your pre-approval, you're really just window shopping. You're walking around, you're trying on other people's lives, but the ability to be able to make an offer is you haven't done your due diligence yet. You don't know what you're capable of purchasing, so it's kind of like you're just playing at that point.
Yeah, and the chances of you falling in love with something that is outside of your comfort zone is pretty high, because, wouldn't we all like to buy, something that's extravagant, but it doesn't even remotely fit within our constraints?
I have quite a few clients who I can just tell that it's going to take an emotional experience in order for them to prepare themselves for this journey. So they will start to try on houses, and I know that they haven't done the homework to get the loan. So I preface this ahead of time. I say, there are going to be houses that you fall in love with that you're going to miss out on. I just want you to know that.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have your heart broken by this process at least once. And I think that helps us get really prepared for the one, because up until that moment, you haven't been really serious about it yet. Right. You have to miss out on something that you think will never come back again in order to realize, okay, I can do this. I really want it. I need to do the rest of my homework in order to be able to do it.
Yeah, because not only is getting, pre-approved and having that relationship with a loan officer important to know what you should be looking at, but when we write offers for our clients, we often send the pre-approval letter over with your offer to the seller that says, yeah, you have to send it. The seller wants to know that you are qualified to buy this house. The seller's agent is probably going to have a conversation with that lender to be like, hey,
have they done their due diligence?
Is their file open? Yeah. Are they ready to go? If we needed to close early, is that a possibility? A lot of the lenders I work with will just give that listing agent a courtesy call, talk through and say, hey, my clients are super qualified to close on this home. That goes a long way to make the listing agent feel comfortable picking your client's offer, and the seller knowing that the buyer can, like we keep saying, the theme, close on the house. It's all well and good if you get under contract and your offer's accepted. Can you close?
And I will say that it's not like buying a car, y'all. I know that for some of you, you haven't gone through this process. When you write that initial offer, and if you are financing it with a loan or a mortgage, you are going to have a period of 30 days. And what they do for that pre-approval is it's not a ton of work. It's an initial application. They're not digging through your files yet. But once you start those 30 days, everything kicks into action, and there's going to be a lot of information that you have to send forward. So I also would encourage people who are considering buying a home, like meeting with a loan officer early and just seeing, like, what do I need to be ready to purchase?
Yeah.
How do I get my credit in line?
Oh yeah,
how much money should I put down?
This is a great reason to already have your loan officer relationship established, because like we said, I don't even know we talked quite yet about the timelines of searching for homes. It can be 1 month, 6 months, 12 months.
Right.
But if you're looking ahead down the line, that loan officer is going to help you set up that runway of how you get there, because maybe there's some prep work you need to do on your end to get your finances in check, or just pay something off that needs to be paid off, and they can help you strategize for that. And it's just one part of the relationship that is great to establish early.
And I'm not going to say it's free. It's not free. You pay for it at closing, right? But it's not an hourly rate that they're getting paid, y'all. So if you need that help to get prepared, to know what it's going to look like, how much you're going to need to save, call them today, because that information is crucial, I think, to getting ready. Mm-hmm. And then once we have that golden ticket, purchasing a home is the next biggest hurdle.
Yes, it is.
So I love trying on homes. I love going in. I love seeing.
I just saw 20 homes over the weekend. 20?
That's a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much. This is a special case. This is some clients from out of town, so you take advantage of the time you have.
Sure.
I just saw 20 houses this weekend.
I find that like after 7.
Oh, and I don't do more than 7 in a day.
Okay.
Don't do more than 7 a day. That's crazy town.
Otherwise, like
it's all a blur.
Nothing sticks.
Nope.
You think it will,
but
in the moment.
You take advantage of the time you have.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. You've got to. I get it. When I was buying, we moved from Denver to Seattle. Taylor and I spent 3 back-to-back weekends flying out from Denver to come look at houses, and it was so frustrating because the homes that we would have an offer review by date, and we'd have to put in our offer, and we wouldn't get chosen, right? Because they were offering hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking.
Yeah.
And it just felt like so not fair, because then when you went back to the backup house, it had an offer review by date that you had already missed because you were waiting for this one.
Right.
Luckily for buyers today, that's not necessarily the case. We're seeing products sit on the market for a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. Depending on the location in the market and price point, that maybe it's on for 30, 40 days. We're still seeing some things move pretty quickly. But yeah, with my clients from out of town right now, there's a few offer review dates, and if that's not something they want to move on, then they might miss it, and that's okay. but they're kind of at the will of what's available when they come
Right.
to visit.
Exactly. And that was exactly what we were like. And there are a lot of my clients who aren't, right? So they're in a position where they can wait for 6 months and kind of take this slower tract. Others who are very interested in doing it right now. They have everything set up and they're ready to go. So as far as, let me ask you, okay.
Okay.
What is the most product you've seen with a client before?
Before they purchased?
Yeah.
Or before an offer was accepted? Because those are different things.
Well, like what was the max number of homes you went and toured?
I think probably, if I had to guess, somewhere between 50 and 60.
Yeah, mine was.
And they lost out on, but the thing is they lost out on maybe two offers before they got their one.
Okay, but were they aggressive offers, or were we just kind of trying to lowball and get?
Not lowball. They weren't trying to get a deal. It was they just simply got beat out. And when they finally did get their offer accepted, they beat out 12 other offers. So I think sometimes when you lose a few,
you learn how to get a little.
You start to understand what you're comfortable with. Maybe saying goodbye to or saying yes to, and it can give you a strategy. What about you? What's the most?
63.
See, I should have actually counted.
63 homes.
Okay, yeah. We were somewhere around there.
And we were in a position to only see 2 at a time because they would take an hour a piece.
Oh, see, we were over 6 months, so
yeah.
60 makes sense. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was a long haul. We made 3 offers, all of which were not super aggressive. And, go for it. Put your best foot forward, and if you want to get a deal, then great, and we can wait it out for as long as possible, which is what ended up happening with us. But for other people, they just find that they're ready, they want to pay, they want it now, and so in those instances it can go really fast. But I would say the longest, that was my longest.
That's a lot. Yeah, mine was over a long period of time, so it sort of made sense that it took that long. I mean, with these out-of-town clients, though, who are amazing, we've already seen 40 homes. They've only been up here for we've only been together 5 physical days, and I think we've seen 40 homes.
Holy smokes, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of product.
But we're 20 minutes at a time. They're quick.
They're quick. Yeah, this was not that. So, but I would say everybody's journey is different, but expect to spend 1 to 6 months and then an additional month after that to close on the home. Right. So if you're looking to purchase in 2025, you could start looking at homes today and be in that product by January or not.
Right.
Depending on your goals.
Yep, and that's another thing we ask. Well, we ask anyone. What your timeline is, but a lot of first-time home buyers are renting.
Yes.
So it's good to know how long do you have left in your lease? If you've just renewed, what are your lease terms? What would you need to do if you needed to break it? Because if you're actively looking now and you still have a lease, maybe you're okay with leaving your lease early because that's something you've decided is part of your budget.
Yeah.
But just understanding what that looks like, and that's super helpful information to know, because if it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, maybe wait till closer to the end.
So if you're getting ready to purchase a home, what would be your number one tip for clients?
My number one tip for clients, I would probably find an agent first.
That's so funny, because I'd make a mood board.
Yes, well, I'd say
start with the mood board, manifesting.
The average
candles.
person is probably going to go look on Zillow and look at that $2 million house that they don't know whether or not they can afford or not, and that's probably where they're going to start. I would say go find an agent, because that agent is going to have a whole slew of resources for you, including the loan officer that you're going to need to reach out to, or a couple people to figure out what's going to work and find your budget.
And she's going to have the keys. She's got the keys to get in.
She's got the keys. That's right. See, it all comes back to that.
That's right.
But, first step, this is what I would do. I will say this is not what I did when we purchased. I was not an agent. This was a long time ago. I would find an agent that you trust, get recommendations from friends who have recently purchased, maybe not somebody, that you don't know super well, someone that you trust, someone who's got the same personality type as you, and is going to have had work with somebody who is going to get your vibe.
Yeah, vibe is important, man.
You're going to be spending a lot of time with this person, and you want to be able to trust them.
Add them to the family.
Find an agent, find a loan officer, understand your budget, understand what you need to do to be ready to actually look for a house, because when you start looking for a house, you want to be ready to purchase.
Yeah, you want to think about what kind of paint colors you're going to put on the walls and what rugs would look good where. So get out all of the crazy, difficult stuff out of the way and ask for help. I think that that's something that we need to be reminded of all the time. We're not supposed to be experts in everything. There are people that can help you out, and it won't cost you much if you do it well.
Exactly. So
all right.
I think this is a great episode too.
We're so excited. If you have any questions about how we run our business, or you'd be interested in meeting with us, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.